Hola chicas, buenos dias. So in this presentation, I'm going to be reviewing the use of ser, estar, and tener to talk about food. These three verbs are really useful in a lot of different contexts in Spanish and are especially useful when you are describing and talking about food. So here on the first slide, you will see the verb ser. And when we're talking about food with ser, we are describing the general nature of food. And to do that, we either need to use the form es or the form son, depending on if the food is singular or plural. So you'll see in my example sentences here, el té es, T is ... That's the el form. Es is the el form because el té corresponds with the pronoun el. Los refrescos son. So los refrescos corresponds with ellos. So that's why we have to use the form son of ser. And again, this is to describe permanent characteristics of food. Okay, in this next slide, you will see the verb estar. Estar is used to describe characteristics of food in the moment, what a food is like in the moment. For example, el té está or los refrescos están. Again, we either are using the form está or están to talk about food, and it just depends on whether you're talking about one food or more than one. In this case, el té is singular, los refrescos is plural. Here's a little wrap-up of ser and estar side by side. So we know that ser is more permanent to describe qualities of a food. El té es caliente, los refrescos son dulces. And estar is more temporary, what something is like in the moment. El té está caliente, los refrescos están dulces. One thing that is very important to keep in mind is the use of singular and plural and masculine and feminine when you are describing things in Spanish. As you know, nouns in Spanish have a gender. They are either masculine or feminine. We don't have that in English, but we have that in Spanish. Therefore, any adjective that is describing that noun also has to be masculine or feminine, and it also has to be singular or plural depending on if you're talking about one thing or more than one thing. So you'll see here I underlined the subject of a sentence and the corresponding ending of the adjective. El té está frío. So I left the adjective as frío because it's describing something masculine and singular. It's describing el té. Mi hamburguesa está deliciosa. Deliciosa because I'm describing la hamburguesa. Las manzanas son dulces. Dulces with the S at the end because I'm describing more than one apple. Las manzanas. You may have noticed by now that many adjectives in Spanish end in an E. If that's the case, if you have an adjective that ends with an E that you want to use, you just leave the E. That doesn't change, but you do need to add an S if it's more than one. Okay, finally, you learned how to use tener to talk about being hungry and being thirsty. And in Spanish, we literally say, I have hunger or I have thirst. So if someone asks you, ¿tienes hambre? You could respond, sí tengo hambre, or no tengo hambre. If you're with your friends and someone asks you guys, ¿ustedes tienen sed? You could answer, sí tenemos sed, or you could say, no tenemos sed. Okay, that is it for now. I hope this helps to give more of an introduction and a description to how we use these three verbs and also to how important gender and number is when we are describing things in Spanish. Adios.